Travis Reier and Charlie Potter, the BamaOnline.com staff, with another edition of Instant Analysis, a midweek edition of Instant Analysis. Charlie, as we prepare for Alabama and Louisiana-Monroe, the Crimson Tide trying to rebound from last Saturday night's loss to the Ole Miss Rebels, 43-37 in Bryant-Denny Stadium, and sort of the vibe that you've detected from this team this week as it tries to bounce back. Is it seem to be recovering quickly, or has it been a little bit sluggish?
They had the day off Monday from practice. They were still up here going through film study and things like that. But, you could tell they're a little beat up. The offense ran 100-plus plays when you mix in penalties. But I think the ultimate vibe that I've gotten is that they're just kind of pissed off, for lack of a better word. You can tell that these guys know they let one slip away.
Opportunity missed, yeah.
And you can tell that they don't want that to happen again. The margin for error is very slim at this point, and you can tell that in the way they're going about interviews. Some guys are strictly about their business and don't even want to come up, so you can tell that they're pretty locked in.
Difference from this year and a year ago happened a few weeks later in the season. So while there's talk about running the table and going perfect over the remainder of the regular season, got a little bit more to navigate this time around because we saw something we don't see from Nick Saban coach teams at Alabama, and that's a loss in September. But looking ahead to the month of October, obviously a critical month to this team's championship hopes, not just from a college football playoff standpoint. I don't even think they can look that far ahead right now. It's about really getting through October, and it starts with this week. And I think it's a very important game, not so much because they need a win, which obviously they do. They got to get some things cemented, get some things right before they head to Athens a week from Saturday. And it starts with the quarterback position, which it appears at least, as much as we've seen to date since spring, Jake Coker is the guy, not just the starting quarterback.
Yeah, Saban made that point clear that he intends to start Coker this weekend. And I think centered around the quarterback, they want to find an identity. That's been what everyone said. And that's pretty clear. We haven't seen what this Alabama offense is to this point. We've seen a lot of different looks. It kind of started in the Wisconsin game and fell off from there. But I think not only that, you want to stay healthy in this game too. You want to come out and assert yourself, but you don't want to overemphasize that and lose a couple of guys ahead of a key game against Georgia the following week. You don't want to overlook an opponent, and Nick Saban's not going to be happy to hear that. But at the end of the day, that's what it is.
Oh, there's no doubt, and especially at wide receiver right now. They lose Robert Foster. That, to me, took them to a state where they can't afford to lose another top-line guy. With Foster, they still had decent depth. Now, without Foster, you lose a Ridley, you lose a Stewart, you even lose a Mullaney. You're treading on dangerous area there. Do you think Ridley's the guy now that really becomes a focal point at that X position with Foster out?
Yeah, I do. We've seen that they're going to try to get the ball to Ardarius Stewart, and Mullaney has developed into one of Coker's go-to guys. You mix in O.J. Howard with that, and how Ridley has shown flashes. I think they're okay there. And another good sign, though, is with Cam Sims coming back from injury. He's a guy that, he's one of the bigger receivers on the team. He could be a really big red zone threat for them too.
Right.
But I think at the end of the day, with Foster out for what looks like an extended period of time, I think Ridley's the guy that's going to step in. He's been leading them through drills and practice. As a true freshman with older guys behind him, so I think he's the guy for now.
I think you hit on it too with Howard. I think he becomes emphasized more, especially in situations like they were in late in the game last Saturday night. Perhaps if they check it down just a little bit more and show some more patience and go with Howard, who knows what happens. But on all those guys, they become obviously very important. In identity, I think we see, you talked about Wisconsin, and Saban sort of mentioned that too, that since Wisconsin, it hasn't been as even in terms of who they want to be, which makes me think, go back and watch Wisconsin, and maybe that's what we're going to see more of in terms of their approach going forward. Defensive side of the ball, Saban's still talking about big plays, giving up too many of those, whether they're fluke plays like we saw against Ole Miss, the run-pass option, pop pass that hurt them, obviously a lineman downfield. But I'll give him credit. He hasn't taken his guys off the hook. The bottom line is, for the last couple of years, the back end of this defense hasn't made enough plays, and you sense that I sense anyway, that he's growing a little bit weary of that.
Yeah, But I think at the end of the day, too, I thought the defense actually played pretty well against Ole Miss. And you take out that pop pass for a touchdown and then that fluke play that's going to happen, 1 in a million plays. I mean, that's 150 yards right there. And then they gave up less than 300, holding them to 90 yards rushing. I think the defense played okay, but they're still susceptible to those big plays. And as you said, Saban is frustrated with that. That's killed them in several situations. Last season, that's what plagued them down the stretch. And, you have veteran guys out there, but it's still at the end of the day happening. I don't really know how you shore that up. I mean, they're talking about they're in phase, out of phase. I don't really know how you fix it.
I think they've played okay by the last few years' standards, but if you want to start comparing defenses to the great ones that he's had here, we haven't seen that yet. Maybe we will. Maybe it'll happen. I think it will improve. I think Marlon Humphrey, Minkah Fitzpatrick, these are guys that had their struggles at times last week against Ole Miss, but I truly believe they're going to get better and better. Cyrus Jones is a solid guy at the other corner, so maybe they can get those things fixed here in a relatively short period of time. Special teams, actually, kicking the football was better. Griffith made a field goal. Scott did some good things. Only had 2 punts because you turned it over 5 times. But the return game, not just the fumbles, but they are struggling and have, this is a continuation from a year ago too, struggling to generate much room for guys on returns.
Yeah, I don't know what the cause of that is, but you can definitely see it's an inability of this team. Not only that, you saw it in the first game too, just on the onside kick recovery, what they thought was going to be an onside kick, where Chris Black needed at the 7. So that's definitely going to be what I think a point of emphasis this week. Fumbles, you don't teach that in special teams drills. That's something that Kenyon Drake and Ardarius Stewart go through at the beginning of practice with their respective position groups. So that's just, I don't know if that's big game jitters ahead of a loud crowd in front of in Bryant-Denny Stadium, but it's uncharacteristic of those guys.
Too much talent top to bottom on this roster for this team not to just be drop dead good in special teams. Just like in other areas, they should out-talent people, and it should show up especially in special teams where you see bottom 40 on the roster type guys utilized for teams around the league and around college football. So ULM on Saturday, one thing that you want to see from this team coming out of that game?
I guess just an emphasis to run the football. That's really, I think, what it comes down to. I don't think you put Jake Coker in any situation where he has to win the game. I don't think he'll be placed in that situation. But just rely on the big backs you have. Derrick Henry has shown that he's capable of carrying the load. He hasn't had, I don't think, more than 15 carries in a game. That's a lot of work for a guy like him. I think that's what we'll see early on. If not, I think they'll be in trouble entering next week. But I think that's what we see, and I don't see them winning just by a gigantic margin. I think about 5 touchdowns is where I would go. But I think if they come out running the football, I think that'll make a lot of fans happy.
Yeah, just establish who you are as best you can before you take it on the road to a tough place in Athens, Georgia, a week from Saturday. And clean up the turnovers. You don't want to take that on the road. So it's a game where they can definitely use time to polish a lot of areas. I'm like you. I don't think they want to play guys for extended periods, but I do think we see guys like Coker for 2.5 quarters and consistent 2.5 quarters, not 2 series and then Bateman. I think this is an opportunity to say, Jake, here's the keys. Let's see what you can do with the car, and that's probably their best hope right now. So that'll just about do it for another edition of Instant Analysis. We're just outside the Alabama weight room. We got to get in here and get some reps. Got to get our bench. What do you bench?
I haven't benched in a while. The last time I benched was...
Is that the most bro question ever?
Yeah.
So what do you bench?
The last time that I maxed was 250.
Okay. So, yeah. I'm good at those 20-ounce curls. That's the ones I do well.
Oh, yeah.
But for Charlie Potter, I'm Travis Reier. Keep it right here on BamaOnline.com for more coverage of Crimson Tide Athletics.